The inspiration behind the West End was my father's family being a group of African Americans that migrated from rural Georgia in the early 1940s and came to the West End. And from what I understand, there were earlier family members and community members from this particular county they were from in Georgia who had migrated to Cincinnati's West End in the late 1900s through like 1940, and even up into the 1970s, they were still coming.
Rev Page got me on the missionary committee, helping some of these new arrivals find lives, and about 100 of them arrived at Union Terminal last night. You should come help out, Grace.
So I was interested in that sort of historical aspect of the Great Migration and also Cincinnati's sort of part in that. And the West End's particular part in it. But I was also interested in all the stories and tales that I heard about the West End from my father and grandparents, and mostly everyone in my dad's generation who was Black, who had some kind of connection to the West End. Like even yesterday, I asked he was talking to a high school classmate. He graduated from Taft High School. And he said, yeah, I talked to my classmate, and I said, oh, was she from the West End too, Dad? He was like, of course she was from the West End, right? So the West End, just sort of as oral story and just sort of like, familiar story and just communal story, it was always centered to everything.
I can call Heaty Pole if you want. Tell him you're down with influenza.
He barely shows up to work as it is. Those folks at the brewery don't care about him.
That's not true. I'm the best malter Heaty Pole got.
I hope Cincinnati audiences experience a journey back, at a time that most Cincinnatians probably were not alive, and if they were alive, they were probably young kids, right? Children, babies. And to see Cincinnati animated for them during that time, to recognize names of places like Hudipole is mentioned, and Mecklenburg is mentioned, and the Cotton Club and Ferguson Cabs. Like just hearing the names and the iconic figures of that time, but also just being prepared that it's not a documentary for the West End. It's one particular story that I decided to tell. I'm sure there's many, many stories about the West End. I hope other people have a chance to tell those stories as well.